Shifting focus to Russia, which conducted military exercises near the United States in the Atlantic Ocean on Tuesday. The drills involved Russia's nuclear-powered submarine and a naval frigate that are heading to the Caribbean nation of Cuba. The warships fired high-precision missiles at mock enemy targets from a distance of more than 370 miles. Now, these vessels are among the 4 Russian warships en route to Cuba, and they're expected to arrive in Havana today. Now, Cuba says this reflects the historically friendly relations between the two nations. The Russian warships that will dock in Cuba will be carrying the Zircon hypersonic missiles that could be used against both ships and ground targets. Vladimir Putin has touted these missiles as a potent weapon, which have a range of over 600 miles and travel 9 times faster than the speed of sound. Last week, the Cuban government said the Russian warships would not be carrying any nuclear weapons. The statement came after Washington raised alarms as it tracked Russian warships near the Caribbean Sea. Now, the U.S. has said that it does not see Russia's move as threatening. However, the U.S. Navy will continue to monitor these exercises. And joining the United States in tracking the Russian activity is its Latin American ally, Guyana.
The view is that shared by some of our partners is that it's not something that we should worry about, that it doesn't represent a direct threat to Guyana or Guyana's interests. Nevertheless, we're vigilant and we're keeping this issue firmly in our policy radar.
Now, of course, this is not the first time that Russia has in fact sent warships to the Caribbean. However, it is worth noting that their visit to the region comes at a time when Cuba is inviting more and more Russians to visit the country.
We were invited to come and consider the Cuban option, and we picked it because it's a great country and with good people. We had heard a lot about Cuba. Our countries have been friends for years, and, strictly speaking, it's safe here.
Now, with the naval drills in the Caribbean and an increase of Russians visiting Cuba, this projection of power could be more than meets the eye. But of course, time will tell what exactly Putin has up his sleeve. From impeachments to inaugurations, if it's a political story, we are on the scene. The race for the White House is heating up.
We're beating Biden.
How dare he say that?
If it's breaking news, we're live with the latest coverage. From the White House, the State Department, and Capitol Hill, we know the issues, but above all, we know the players to bring you the latest in-depth analysis on all the key stories that we're covering. I'm Eric Ham. Join me from Washington here on Firstpost America.
Fan of Italy's famous cuisine? Well, we are serving it with a side of diplomacy. As G7 leaders gather in southern Italy, Vantage is taking you to the heart of the action. What's the agenda? Who's invited? And how is Italy preparing for it? Catch the special edition of Vantage throughout this week, only on Firstpost. Fan of Italy's famous cuisine? Well, we are serving it with a side of diplomacy. As the G7 leaders gather in southern Italy, Vantage is taking you to the heart of the action. What's the agenda? Who is invited? And how is Italy preparing for it? Catch the special edition of Vantage throughout this week, only on Firstpost.